Do you remember that interstellar visitor that we had recently? I'm talking about that weird obelisk-shaped asteroid called Oumuamua that everyone thought was aliens. Well, it wasn't aliens, but it was a very strangely shaped, dry object, and its brief foray into our solar system from interstellar space opened up a ton of questions. Among them, how many asteroids are there like this in the galaxy that travel between solar systems? How often do solar systems eject material like this? And how often do they receive it? And how often would they be intercepted by another planet? Would microbial life be able to persist on these asteroids, and perhaps even seed a new planet after hurtling across space for millions of years? Researchers from all over the world wanted to answer these questions, and many papers were published that explored models of material distribution and mathematically inferred a rough idea of what was going on in the galaxy. A study published earlier in 2018 considered the size of Oumuamua and the region of space that it came from, and they calculated a rough average density for these kinds of interstellar asteroids. The number they came up with is huge, something around 1 trillion objects per cubic light year, which would mean that, on average, quadrillions of them are being generated and thrown around by every star in the galaxy. Another study used Oumuamua's movement speed as an average speed. You have that as a baseline, I suppose. And they estimated the rate at which the gravity well of a star system would ensnare a passing interstellar object. These equations were then applied to all of the stars in the galaxy to yield a rate of about 10 million object captures every million years, or about 10 a year across the whole galaxy. Now, an interstellar object like an asteroid being gravitationally captured by a star system 10 times a year across the entire galaxy, that's really not that unreasonable of an estimate, even though there are valid arguments to be made that these models are all too limited, because they're pretty much only using the Oumuamua case to work from. I suppose it's reasonable, then, to understand how serious all of these models are. These studies may be formally done, and they're accurate within the axioms and assumptions of their models, but we need to appreciate the fact that they're based largely on a single case study, and just extrapolating off of that. However, this doesn't mean that this is all just conjecture that can be dismissed out of hand. On the contrary, as Oumuamua demonstrated, terrestrial objects can and do travel between star systems. It's simply a question of statistics and the specific gravity environment of every individual star system that determines if one of these captured interstellar asteroids will get thrown back into the cosmic void, as Oumuamua was, or if it crashes onto the surface of a local planet. Now, this is where things get really interesting, because if just one of these 10 captures a year across the galaxy leads to an asteroid that makes planetfall, then this could possibly lead to a case of panspermia, where microbes are seeded onto one planet after being ejected from another. The focus of our questions would then turn to the likelihood of dormant microbes surviving the tens or hundreds of thousands or even millions of years in the vacuum of space that it would take to cross interstellar distances. If microbial life can theoretically survive an ejection event that's strong enough to launch it out of its own star system, and if it can then survive the long, dark voyage through space, and it can survive the re-entry process onto a planet that's reasonably accommodating for it, then panspermia seems like it might be a common and widespread process in the galaxy. If these equations are at all close to reality and they give us a semi-accurate picture of what's going on, then we might just be living in a galaxy whose star systems are swimming in a soup of microbe-laden asteroid debris, and this slow cosmic exchange of biotic chemistry happens to seed life throughout the galaxy. Clusters of proximal star systems could theoretically have planets that host chemically related lineages of life, and the galaxy itself could be mapped out biologically as a mosaic of genesis events and their subsequent panspermia.